Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Here to talk about the Suorin drop and what I think. Is it a puff or is it a bluff? So Suorin drop is an open pod system. It has disposable pods and it offers multiple refills per pod. You can fill up each side of the pod via the little rubber stoppers here on the top. Simply open those up and you can just insert your juice bottle into the pod and squeeze away. Generally, there's a little bit of a balancing act between trying to get the juice even on both sides. You can do that with the air difference by opening both these up and kind of tilting the pod until you get it just right. And then you can fill one side up, cap it off, push the neck of the bottle that's filling it into the edge of the hole and fill up the remainder of the other one and cap it off as well. So with these devices, there's a few pros to having a device like this, right? We have refillable pods that offer quite a few refills each. We generally get about 8 to 10 refills out of something like this, versus just disposable pods like a Jewel where you have to throw it away. The cost for the pods themselves is relatively cheap at between $5 and $8 US from local vape shops. The nice thing about the Suorin itself is that it has an easy draw with a relatively long pull before the safety limiter kicks in and stops you. However, that's pretty much where the pros for this device end. The cons for this device: the charging port for it is a micro USB instead of USB Type-C. Suorin, it was 2018 when I bought this, roughly. It was 2019 now. These things are still coming with a micro USB instead of a USB Type-C. Need to get that changed. Let's get with modern technology. The other problem with the charging port is that it's on the bottom of the device. So when you plug it in, you can't stand the device up. The device has to lay on its side in order to do it, and seeing as how the device doesn't come with a dock with a charging port on it where you can click it into the dock and leave it standing up, it's maybe just a factor for people with a little bit of OCD, like myself, who are annoyed by that, but it just seems like the device should stand up while it's charging. As far as that goes, we'll move on to the refillable pods. The air bubbles are generally a problem with these type of pods. The problem is that at first it's usually okay since the wicks are brand new, but as you continue to refill the pod, underneath of the wicks there, which you can see sticking out of the sides of the center assembly, air bubbles tend to develop underneath of those wicks with each hit you take, and then you gotta pull the pod, shake it one way, shake it the other way, get the air bubbles out, put it in, take a hit, pull it out, shake the pod, get the air bubbles out. Super frustrating design. I feel like the wicks could have been moved down to the bottom of the assembly, and that would have totally negated the ability for an air pocket to develop there. And unfortunately it is extremely time consuming, and after the first couple of refills, 1 or 2 refills with a pod, makes these devices very inconvenient. The final con with these devices overall is just quality control right from the factory. This was the first one that I purchased. It is the matte rubberized finish in baby blue. As you can see on the back of the device here, just at the very top, the paint has already worn away. This is not from dropping it on any rough surfaces or anything like that. That's just from grabbing the pod and pulling it out, putting it back in. Just my thumb rubbing this has pulled the paint from the device. Also, the device is at a point now where, in order to use it, the contact is so broken that I have to place my fingers on either side of the pod and squeeze down in order to hit it. So if I just try to do it like this, you can see no blue light, right? No red light, meaning indicating that it's dead, no blue light, anything like that. But if I squeeze the device down as hard as I can, I can make it go. That's because one of the contacts in here has receded. You can see that the one side, it's hard to tell, but the one side is just slightly lower than the other. And even if I try to remedy the issue with the contact itself, that does not solve the problem. So I've actually gone and just grabbed the contacts, grab the bad one, just pull it out a little bit so that it's meeting up with where the other contact was originally, and you would think, okay, I just gently set the pod in there, right? Make sure it's in place, but just gently set it in there. Nothing. So this one is dead to me, no longer usable. It's not feasible to use something that I have to put so much effort into. This one, right off the bat, as soon as I bought this, here we go. You can already see that the device is canted this way. The quality control from the factory for this particular one was horrible. The bottom is not even, not level, and so in order to set it up you have to be very careful with it, and then you can see it always tilts one way. It's tilting over this way. Let me put it in the center of the camera view so you can really get an eye for it. It's really canted over this way, and just a light bump will just take it out. This one was centered very well. You know, you can see it it'll center itself. Even if I knock it around a little bit, it'll center itself. This one has no hope of that. You knock it around a little bit, it's just going to fall over one way or the other because it's so unlevel. And that was just a perfect stand right there is what happened. The other problem with this one, right out of the box, was that if I pull on it, it will continue to burn all the way up to the safety timer. So even if I just want to take a little pull, it'll just continue to burn right up to the safety timer. I've tried different pods. This particular pod you saw didn't do that. Well, you may not have saw it, but I can assure you it didn't do that in the blue one. I've tried multiple pods. It's not the pods, it's the Suorin drop itself. And the device, unfortunately, is just poor quality control from the factory, and that's what I've found for both of my devices. So overall, the Suorin drop, is it a puff or a bluff? Definitely a bluff. It's a good attempt at an open pod system, but it's not one that I'd recommend. I will be reviewing other systems in the future. Oh, how did that get in there? Let me just get that out of the way. That will so far are looking to be superior to the Suorin drop, and certainly we will review those systems in future videos. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have anything awesome to say it. If you have a terrible and mean and unnecessary thing to say it. I'll be sure to destroy you in the comments. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.